Hey Harmonizers, welcome to this video with the 3-year-old Bay Mustang, and he is getting gentled. He was chosen by somebody else. I offered to pick up some Mustangs for other people while I was down getting a Mustang for myself, and somebody chose this really cute 3-year-old gelding. He is the sweetest little guy, and I'm just doing the basic gentling for them so that way they could be able to catch him and touch him and things like that before he went to their house. So you can see I'm working on some touches here. He trained pretty fast. He was definitely one of the easier Mustangs that we've done gentling and taming with, and he loves kisses. He is the funniest little horse ever. He's always wanting to kind of stick his nose in your face and likes those little kisses on his little snout, which I think is super adorable. And also takes a little bit of grass as treats, but more just kind of valued snuggles, which is a little bit different than some of the other horses that really work well off of having grass as a reward, which we did use sometimes with him as well, but for him just not as big of a deal. And here doing some of his first leading, which he figured out pretty quickly. And I'd say for his training, we had him reasonably well leading and kind of ready to go to his home after I think it was 3 weeks. But his owner also wanted him to be dewormed and also started on picking up his feet. So we ended up keeping him for 4 weeks to get that all going. And that's with both me and Allie working them. On average, it worked out to once a day going out and doing sessions with them. Here you can see I'm working on rubbing his right side, which he's not such a fan of at this moment in time. He keeps trying to put me on his left side. And that's pretty normal that horses will present one side to you over the other. And you just kind of be patient and, friendly touches on that side, and you can work on getting more on the other side. So you can see he's really trying to put his nose behind my shoulder and trying to block me politely and keep me on that left side. And it doesn't mean that anything's necessarily wrong with them, or sometimes people think, oh, they've got eye trouble. It's like, no, they just have a side that they're more confident with than the other, and you literally have to train both sides. And his left side would have had a lot more work or familiarization, just because that's the side that he was standing when we would work on a lot of our approaching and touching. And so now that we have the halter on and we are leading a little bit, we can now start to block that side and start to rub him on that right side. So it's almost like he's seeing us for the first time, because he is kind of seeing us for the first time out of that right eye, and it all looks a little bit different, a little bit scary. So we just have to work on that a little bit more here. And I'm just doing lots of gentle rubs. The main thing is to never get upset at the horse, because they're just genuinely scared and not really sure of things. So if you start yanking on them or pulling on them or getting upset about the situation, that's just going to add fuel to the fire, so to speak. Here's a little look at him working on his haltering. So this is Allie now doing a little session with him. And you can see he's really good with that, just on and off. Super easy for him to do that. So he progressed to leading out of the pen relatively quickly, so he enjoyed coming out. And this is kind of neat. I took him out while a new round bale was getting put in for the horses, and so even with the commotion going on over there, he still stood really nice and quiet, which is awesome. And then this is going by, there was this little kind of narrow area with the harrow and the little building there, and you'll see there's still a bit of a wild flighty side in there as he comes around the corner and he kind of takes off. And when that happens, I find it's better to just let go of the rope and then just re-catch them, rather than letting them learn that they can successfully pull away from you. So here, what was really kind of funny and interesting is he walked by totally fine going in this direction, which is away from the indoor arena, and completely fine. But for whatever reason, going the other way was scary. So here's another moment where he was unsure about it, thinks about it, and then kind of says, heck no, I'm not doing that. So I just thought that was really weird that he had issues with it going in one direction only. But I did end up working him through that and getting him to walk by it softly, but I didn't want to be filming at the same time. I wanted to have 2 hands on my rope, so I don't have any footage of it. And then here's a little look at working on touching his legs. Yes, that's Mummy. That's my little 3-year-old in the background. And working on picking up his feet. So this is one of the requests that his new owner had, is that if we could get started on that before he came to his new home. So we kept him a little bit longer so we could get started on that. So we're giving him lots of rubs, working on touching those legs. He's offering to lift there. Super important when we're first starting touching the legs that you don't try to hold the leg or trap the leg, because you can really cause them to panic and get really upset. So we don't want to do that and start to create a fight. We literally just work on touching the leg first, and then secondly, when they simply just a lift and then a let go. And there I'm just trying to touch, and he's just picking up his foot purely because he doesn't want me to touch it, or it just feels a little bit awkward for him. And so I just touch politely, and then I take that away. And so then when I go to do his bum here, a little bit more scary for a lot of horses to do their back legs than their front legs. When he's sniffing me like that, just kind of allow him to do that. And just rubbing. And when he gets upset and he turns and he's not sure, then all I want to do is just make a correction and turn him the way that I wanted him. And then we'll try again. So no yanking, no scolding, no telling him he's awful, because that is not going to help the situation. And just going to turn him, redirect, and then we're going to give that a little try again. And you see him doing lots of rubbing and kind of working my way back there. And here I'll just make another correction again, and then we'll redo. And ideally I'd be able to correct him without moving my feet so much, but his knowledge of moving different body parts is still relatively slim at this point, so our options are kind of limited. So there you can see I did a nice touch, and then I came back up and offered him some grass, which he's not super keen on taking grass. Sometimes he will, sometimes he won't. He definitely, I guess, is the type where he internalizes that stress a little bit. He's more going to stop, freeze, think, rather than be more extroverted. So when he's not taking the grass, I can take that as a sign that he's feeling a little bit tense. But you can definitely see that in his body language anyways, the way his head's a little up, the way his ears are to the side. He's really watching to see what I'm after. But there you can see I made a nice touch down the leg there. And then I offer him that grass again to see if he's interested, waiting a little bit there. I'll just go back to some rubbing, try to reassure him, go down and touch that leg again, which he does really nicely. Give him some friendly, reassuring rubs. And you'll notice that I'm not kind of staying down there, stressing him out. I just kind of go down, I touch, and then I come back up. And a big part of horse training is trying not to blow the horse up. So I want to run my hand down, but not stay down there long enough that he freaks out and panics and ends up in a situation where he does, blow past me or something like that. I'd like to try to reward him before we get to that point. So here, running my hand down his front legs again, and because he's backed up so much, I'm going to bring him forward again to just reiterate that we're not backing up, that we get to just stay there. So another little thing for him is working on some of his buttons. So here you can see he did a little bit of backup. I'm going to touch him on both sides. This is now touching on his other side, rubbing that other leg there. And you see I'm rubbing that bum first, working my way down that leg. So you get a really good view on this one, seeing how I work my way down that leg and then taking away my hand and coming back up top again. And he's kind of wrapped around me a little bit. He's thinking about all the different things that I'm doing, and he's paying attention. And I'm just trying to block him from backing up. So I'm kind of holding the pressure a little bit forward on the rope. And as long as I'm kind and gentle, I don't really have to worry about him trying to strike or kick out at me or something like that. But I definitely do need to just be careful, though, in general. Make sure I stay at the side of him. Here's a little look at his first ever, well, I guess not first ever deworming, because they do deworm them at the Bureau of Land Management when they are rounded up. But this would be his first deworming where he's totally not tied or in a chute or something like that. Yes, that is Mommy, and Mommy's deworming the horsey right now. And so you can see he did that really, really well. I put the little dewormer in. Gonna give him a couple little scratches there. And when I first put it in their mouth, I don't squirt anything in their mouth. I just put it in and let them kind of feel it. And then I take it out and kind of praise them for that. And then after I've done that a couple times, then I'll actually push the dewormer in. But I want to make sure I can put it in their mouth. And it also gives them a chance to spit out any grass or anything that they have. And this time I'll end up pushing it all the way in. And he says, that tastes funny and that smells funny. So he's flipping his little lid up there. But overall, pretty easy deworming going on there. So after all that, it was time to take him to his new home. So this is him at his new home, getting settled into his little pen. And after we dropped him off, I decided to go over and make sure that I could still touch him and just kind of reassure him in his new space. He's got a lovely little setup and a lovely home that's going to continue on with his positive reinforcement and using a lot of kind, gentle training. So I'm really looking forward to seeing their progress and how that all comes along. But you can see I was able to walk right up to him here, give him some scratches, and say hello, which is just kind of a nice thing to do as they're getting settled into their new home. And they've got a nice setup there where he's by himself, but you can see the other horses. And then once they're confident in their ability to catch him and walk up to him, then they're going to let him mingle with the other horses as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed checking him out, the little 3-year-old bay gelding. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll still have more Mustangs to show you yet.